Hi everyone, this is Miss Review and today I'm going to be reviewing a book called The Palace of Illusions. First of all, I liked the book so much that I did not want it to end, so that is the reason I was reading it very slowly. This was actually one of the gifts from my reviewer friends on my birthday. The Palace of Illusions is a book about Mahabharata by Panchali's or Draupadi's point of view. The book starts by how Draupadi was born through fire and her brother Dri, who was also born just before her, and they go on telling the purpose of her life or the purpose of Dri's life, how they were born to take revenge from a certain person. And then they go on to describe how her childhood was. Then the other characters come into play. For example, there was Krishnji, then there was their father Drupad, then came Daima, who also played a very important role in Draupadi's life. Then we get to know about Shikhandi and their backstory, then about Karna or Arjun or all the Pandavas, and then their backstories as well as to why they were on an exile from their own kingdom. And then the Swayamvar happens and how she humiliates Karna in front of the whole Sabha. Then there are certain incidents that are talked about, such as how Draupadi and all the Pandavas started their lives, how she had to marry all of the Pandavas, and there was this one certain rule that she had to live with one brother each for an year, and then she'll just forget about everything that happened in their personal lives. Also, as we all know, Krishna had a very major role to play in the whole Mahabharata. So there are many incidents that in which Krishna is there present and how he sort of takes the lead role. Then the author also goes on to describe how Draupadi's relationship was with Kunti, her mother-in-law, and a certain part of her backstory is also given along with that. One thing that I liked about this book was there is no one incident that was exaggerated or that felt that it was somewhere out of the place, etc. Everyone must have watched Mahabharata in this lockdown as well and in their childhood days. So they kind of know the whole story, and that was exactly what was portrayed. Then she goes on to describe how Karna's life was, how he was born, then how Bhishma Pitama's past was, and all of the other characters as well. So it is a really nice book to read, and we get to know a lot of different stories with a different perspective. Not the one that we have watched or not the one that the original Mahabharata is. It is obviously Mahabharata from Panchali's point of view. So we see the whole war wala scene through her eyes, and the reader actually can imagine what is all happening in front of her eyes or what happened in the war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Then also one scene that is remembered till now, the humiliation scene of Draupadi, that is explained very well, and we get to sort of imagine the whole scene of what was happening, how Karna behaved or how the Pandavas behaved, how everyone was silent when she was getting humiliated or when Duryodhan was calling her with names, and how Krishna comes into the scene and sort of helps her to take her out from the whole thing and rescues her. So all in all, the book is really good. You should definitely read it if you get a chance to read a book like this. The storyline or our history is obviously one of its kind. There was never a war like Mahabharata that happened before it or that happened after it. It sort of gives the sense of conclusion or closure with the story because I really like the way how the book ended, or the last few pages of the book, because the author actually explained how Pandavas went on to the mountains and to it is said in Hindi that they actually went on to find the Swarg ki Siri. So Yudhishthir, one of the Pandavas, the eldest son of Pandu, he actually wanted to die. Didn't want to die, but he actually wanted to go in his human form into heaven, and that is what he wanted, and that is what all the Pandavas and Draupadi agreed to. So they all went together, and I really like the way how the author explained the ending of the whole Mahabharata, and there was a sense of closure. There are certain books that, give this sense of closure, and this was one of its kind. So yes, if I get a chance in future, I'll obviously read it again, because mythology and Krishna's stories are something that I really look forward to, and I really enjoy reading all of these kind of stories. So yes, if you also like mythology, or reading about Krishna, or reading about any other character from the Ramayana or Mahabharata, then you should at least try reading this one. And yes, I'll see you guys next time.